Hello and welcome to another episode of Shampoo and Booze. This is episode number 10 at shampooandbooze.com. I find that number to be a good number for this episode.
Good.
Yeah. So the reason I say that is because we bought another house to do a rental in, which is
awesome.
A big deal.
It is.
Yeah. So I thought we would just talk about, why we bought another one, what the process was, what we were looking for, and what we found, and why we knew it was the right one.
Right. So I guess in 2011 we bought
the farmhouse.
This farmhouse that we specifically bought it as an investment piece of property that we were going to turn into a rental. And we took 3 years fixing it up. Yeah. And we got it going this year. So this was the first year we had it rented, and we made twice as much money as we had hoped for.
When we started our rental, we had taken so long to renovate it and, in our minds, make it perfect and fancy and cool. And then when we started renting it and getting bookings, like crazy amount of bookings, like it reminds me of Becca in New Orleans where she said it went gangbusters. Like that's what it felt like. I really liked the business. That for me was like, oh, our ideas for making this place interesting worked.
Right. It really is for us. It's kind of was a real hunch. We weren't really sure if it would work or not. And, it was a little nerve-wracking.
A little nerve-wracking, yeah.
We were putting all of our money into, fixing this place up.
Yeah.
And just kind of crossing our fingers. And, we were pretty conservative about how much we thought we could make so we could cover our costs and still make a profit. And it did well. And
yeah, I think that's what was exciting, was that it was a big risk. Like, is anybody even going to care? And they did, and they really did.
Yeah,
so.
And not to toot our own horn, we made plenty of its mistakes.
Sure.
But we would learn from them. But many of the things we thought would work did work.
Yes.
About how to present the place,
right?
How to attract people, what to give people when they stay, like to make sure they're happy during their stay,
how to make the process of cleaning the house and doing the laundry and meeting people, like make that work for our life,
So based on that, we were like, well, we could do another one.
Yeah.
And, and we've been looking around the past 3 months.
Yeah. Just in general, we look at real estate in our area for fun. Like, ever since we bought our house, we've just been keeping an eye on stuff.
And we live in a pretty small county, so it's not very difficult to just put out an email alert to get told it's whenever a piece of property under a certain amount is being... So it's for us, I think it's $175. It's like, show me anything for $175 for sale. And it's not that much.
It's not very much stuff.
So we've always, since 2009, been keeping up with the things that are available. And even when we haven't been wanting to buy, we at least see what the market says things are worth. And we see what they're up for and how much they sell. Yeah,
and what's the quality for 175 and under. In my search, we have a search on Redfin. I have 150 and under, and I'm just trying to keep an eye on, like, okay, what's 150, what's 120, what's under 100? Like, what's the quality you're getting?
So what was our process? So about 6 months ago, we seriously started thinking we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So the process for us was we couldn't buy in cash, so we had to borrow from the bank.
Right.
And we were willing to do that. So was going to the bank, and that was a several-month process.
Yes.
We use a local bank, a really small bank that only has a handful of branches.
Right.
And we like them, and they know us. But it was a process of, like, getting our credit checked, and we had to get our houses appraised.
Right.
And,
Yeah, and so that's, like, the very first part of the process where you're like, what's our budget? What will the bank say our budget is? So we got that number, and we had to work within that number.
Right, and so... we've known from the past is like that's what we needed to do is how much could we pull,
right?
How much could we get, and then we get a pre-approved for a certain amount, and then based on that we could go shopping. Basically,
yeah, it's kind of a funny process.
It's really just like it's so funny. I know buying a home is one of the biggest purchases most people do in their lives, but after you do it a couple times, it really just becomes you're just buying like anything. a car.
Yeah.
But it's really no different than a lot of other things,
Only if you can handle a payment every month.
Sure,
that's part of it. So we felt, we got the numbers from the bank, and we worked the numbers, and we're like, okay, we can handle this, especially if it's another, income stream.
I mean, we know that the amount of money that we'll make on that will easily cover our mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Plus,
yeah.
And so our idea is we think if we just put all the profit we made from each one back into the house, we could probably pay off the loan in 5 years.
Yeah, which is the goal.
Right. I mean, and also I just got to say, we are not big advocates of having debt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we believe in borrowing money if you're investing in something that you think you'll get more money out. That's for us. And the good thing for us is, so we now own 3 homes. We own 1 home outright.
Right.
So we have loans on 2 of those investment properties. And so it's for us if things hit the fan, life just hit a wall, we could just dump those 2.
Yeah, you sell them.
And then we would still have 1. So.
That's the great thing about real estate, too, is hopefully you've put money in to make it worth more and you can sell it. But let's get back to the process, because once you can, in quotes, go shopping, you have your letter of approval from the bank, you have your number. We started looking at anything that seemed remotely interesting. And by looking at, I mean, we don't even call the real estate agent. We just drive to that property, because the first thing you want to look at is, are there neighbors right next to you? What does the land look like? Where is it located?
I think that's a really important point. I mean, we learned that we could do so much without having to deal with any kind of agents, because they slow things down, and
you have to wait for them.
And so, like as Ryan said, I mean, we could look, and when something popped up that looked interesting, we would just drive by.
We would just drive there.
And very often these homes are empty, so you can actually walk around the homes.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes they're open.
You
can just walk inside.
In our county, too, you're not supposed to, of course, but to be honest, you can. In our county, a lot of these houses have been abandoned for years. Right. So you're like, this is not some place that someone's living. Like, that happened a couple times where of course, we didn't buy those houses.
Well, why don't we talk about this? So, we allowed ourselves to have everything on the table. I mean, we were willing to think about buying any kind of property we thought we could turn into
a rental. Yeah.
So, it's Ryan for a time had this idea of, well, let's buy one of these like $20,000 to $30,000 houses that go up for sale in our county. Yeah. And they're in horrible shape.
Really bad shape.
They're normally a foreclosure, or someone's just dumping it. Yeah. And it needs a lot of work. Like, a total gut. And we thought, well, what if we did that? Right. And we looked at that, and the problem was that none of those houses are really in good areas.
Yeah, I think the problem is, like, I have this fantasy of the $10,000 house, which someday I will achieve. But, I see these little, like, bungalow houses, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I could make that really cute. Okay, fine, but guess what? The house right next door is actually like a garbage dump, or a, junkyard.
Right. I mean, one reason why it's, we've never seen a $10,000 house, but under $30,000.
Under 30, yeah.
One reason why they're that cheap is not only is a house itself in bad shape, it's in an area where all the homes around it are also in poor shape.
Actually, one that you always call my favorite house, this one house that I've been eyeing for months because no one will buy it. The house right down the street is now the exact same price as that, because, like you said, the whole neighborhood is just like these horrible houses.
And again, this is an education. So we've seen, because we keep an eye on this stuff, that those kind of houses get bought by mainly like guys who are contractors, or these investors that have guys that it's for them. They buy it for $24,000.
Right.
They go in, they totally redo it, and I bet they put in $30,000 to $50,000.
Right. Because the one that we looked at, there's another one that I've been keeping an eye on. The guy bought it for $24,000. He did a complete redo. He put a whole new HVAC system in, all this stuff. We call it a Lowe's redo because it's nothing, super special. It's just clean and new.
Right. You go and you put a layer of a niceness on everything.
Yeah, but the house itself.
And that's a worry is, are they fixing stuff that need to get fixed, right, or do they just put on a nice
facade?
Like, on the outside, are they just putting on vinyls
over
siding?
Like rotting,
It's hard to say. But it does look good when you go in there.
Yeah, sure. The initial look is good. But so this guy put this house up for $170. He started at $175.
He bought it for $24
and maybe put in $50. He put it up for $175. I literally laughed out loud when I saw that price. I'm like, there's no way he's getting $175. And now I think it's going to sell for like $102, something like that.
The house is pending right now.
It's pending, so in a couple of weeks we'll know how much it's sold for. But it's interesting
to us. So that was an experiment to think about that kind of stuff.
Right.
And the problem is where we live, those kind of houses couldn't be rented as like a rental. It would have to be a full-time,
like a house
rental.
Like a residential thing.
Right. But the problem is where we live, you couldn't get more than $1,000.
Not even close to $1,000 a month.
So that didn't work out. So number two, our second idea was, well, what if we bought a commercial property?
Yes.
Like in our small town, like a lot of small towns in America, all the business has been sucked out to the edge of town where a Walmart got built, and that's where all the kind of bigger businesses have gone out to, and that's where all the action is. And then the old downtown has these old buildings.
Beautiful old buildings.
Yeah, and there's some action in town, but, we have dreams of, like, what if you were to help
revitalize the Main Street?
And we thought we could do it, and so there's this one building that we thought we could buy. It was basically a shell.
A beautiful shell, one that we love.
A solid brick building.
Like Art Deco from the 30s.
10,000 square feet,
It's huge.
But a total, nothing's been in there for 30 years. It would just be a total new electric.
Oh, just everything.
And honestly, and we put an offer on it.
We were really serious about it. And
the thing is, though, the owner just wouldn't kind of work it with us. He thinks it's worth more than it is, and we didn't want to pay more. And honestly, it's probably for the best, because when I think about it, it would have been a 10-year job for us.
I mean, the great thing was we could have done it in stages, where we did want short-term rentals in the top floor.
Right. I mean, what we dreamed of is a mixed use place.
Which is exciting for us.
So have Airbnb apartments on the top.
Yeah.
And then have a couple of businesses on the first floor, and then there's a basement as well.
There's a basement. As we said, 10,000 square feet.
That
it's huge.
Could also be. And so, anyway.
But, I mean, I still dream about that building. Every time we go by, I crane my neck and look and see what's going on, if anything.
And it's interesting because this guy was one of these out-of-town owners.
Yeah.
He lives across the country, and he, I guess, inherited this piece of property. So he's an absentee landlord, and he's one of these guys that hurts a town,
right?
Because he doesn't invest in the property, and it just
doesn't become
empty.
Anything, because
it looks ugly.
It doesn't cost him anything except really low taxes to just keep it there rotting. So
just hoping. But the good thing is, I think, because we kind of sparked his interest and got him into action again, he is actually supposedly starting to fix it up, and he's going to do what we were thinking of doing.
Right, it's kind of the same idea.
Although no one's really sure. There's a little bit of activity in there, but I mean, which to me is good. If he's willing to spend, $200,000 to
plus
fix it up.
Yeah.
That's good for the town.
Yeah.
I wish that could have been us, but
right. But so we kind of went through that for a couple months. We were really into that. And then once we decided to table that because he was just not working with us, my idea was, what I want is a little bungalow type thing that we can do a little refresh, redo job, and just start renting it soon. You know, something that's not a gut. Something, I mean, we would redo anything because we would want it to be, you know, the way we would want it to be. But
you know, our last two properties were total guts for the most part, and so I think we were ready. And I think common sense finally won out, and Ryan had the right idea. Like, let's just get something where we could fix up in 6 months,
right?
Pay out of our pocket just in cash,
right?
And just
which is
going.
What we would do anyway. Yeah. But it's fun because I think when you have a property that is could be ready to go right now, you can do whatever level of redo you want. So you can decide, you know, we could keep this the way it is, or we can totally gut, you know, the bathroom and the kitchen or whatever.
Cool.
You know?
But that being said, that doesn't really make it that easy. I mean, it's not like there are all of these really great properties hanging out that are ready to be bought, that are affordable. Because we do live in kind of like a vacation area. Yeah. So these kind of vacation cabins, or
people buy them. Like a vacation, a bungalow.
A bungalow.
I call them a bungalow. Or people call them a cabin. This isn't really a cabin.
These are little houses. Yeah. You know.
So those things do not come up on the market very often. And when they do, they get bought right away.
Right. And so this is where all of our homework and preparation paid off. Yeah. Because, you know, we see anytime something goes up, it's for sale, we get an alert on our email. Yeah. We already had a pre-approval from our bank, so they were ready to write us a check whenever we wanted it, and a place popped up.
Yeah. So we had looked at a couple bungalows. Right. Now, I'm going to mention two bungalows. Number one was a bungalow. It's a freaking house. Yeah. Okay. One was on the river, which is extremely rare to come up on the market. It was basically a crack house on the river, which I don't even know how that exists.
I mean, it's not actually a crack house, but it looked like a crack house where, you know, the inside was kind of, it didn't have a floor. There's trash everywhere. Windows were broken.
The back door was broken into and stuff.
It's like a guy had been living there, not having any power or anything. So he was like, he cooked his meals on like a little camper stove.
Yeah, it was really bad. But, you know, it was like an acre on the river. Unheard of. And we put an offer in, and they did not take the offer. So we were like, okay, we have to walk away from this and be done.
Right. They wanted more for it than we were willing to pay.
Yeah.
And, So... But they actually ended up getting a full offer right after
away.
us. So, you know, for certain kind of people, that might make sense. It didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense for us financially. So the second one was up on a mountain, and it was so cute. It was this tiny 2-bedroom, essentially like a little cabin, like a hunting cabin cottage. I think it's more of a cottage. Amazing views, top of the mountain, under $100,000. The roads up to it were so bad we could not drive our car up.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that because I would have put an offer in that day.
Yeah, it was like a cool little house.
Yeah, a little
like
cottage
on the side of a mountain, and you just see the whole valley.
A vista, like this vista views over the entire valley.
But the problem is that it's in kind of one of these developments where they don't. It's no one pays fees.
Yeah,
which is great for people that don't like to pay taxes and they don't want to pay anybody any money.
But this is why.
But the problem is that then there's no infrastructure.
Right.
So the only people that could get up there is if you had a 4-wheel drive truck.
Right. Which is fine if you own a 4-wheel drive truck, which we do. But people from DC and New York are either renting a car or have like a little sedan.
So, and I think, I mean, we have a 4-wheel drive truck. I think if it was raining a lot, or if there was any kind of snow, you couldn't even get up there. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to have a monster 4-wheel drive truck.
Well, the thing about a property like that, and we said this when we were looking at it, if the roads were perfect roads, number one, it wouldn't be under $100,000, and it would already have been sold.
Sure.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. So that didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then I guess its next one had been
the one we bought.
Yeah. Which was it's not actually on the a river. It's across the street from the river.
Yeah.
It's like a block from where the outfitters is, where they do all the tubing.
Yeah, so there's a company that does all the canoes and kayaks and tubing, and it's like a block away from this. So we knew that area.
And we're going to put a bunch of photos on the blog here if you're interested in checking it out. And across the street is actually the properties are owned by it's national forest.
Yeah.
So that's good. So it's going to be untouched.
Yep.
And they have a big a lake / pond that you can fish right there.
We didn't even know that until like after we put an offer in, which was great. But so let's just talk about the process of finding it. So it came up on our phones. You know, we have the Redfin email us, and I read the description. The photos were horrible because any real estate agent around here takes horrible photos.
But we knew the area, so we hopped in the truck and we drove over there. It's about 8 miles from our house, right down the road. And where we live, 8 miles is close.
Yeah, it's not far because it's just one straight road with no stop signs. So we did not call our agent yet or anything. We just kind of hopped out, walked around, and we just said, let's call her right now and ask her to let us in, and we're going to put an offer that day. It was a Monday. Yep. It was like Monday, November 1st. It was, or whatever. It was like the first day of November. So we liked it. I mean, obviously we saw the potential in it right away. The cool thing about it was it's up a little hill. So like we said, it's not on the river, but it has these gorgeous views of the mountains like all around. So to me, that was a big...
it's wood, a platform in front of the
there's
house.
like a deck in front.
And you just hang out there and you can see the whole... It's Blue Ridge of mountains in front of you.
It's really... That makes it really special because a lot of those like Riverside area, like there's no views because you're not on the mountain, but there it was a perfect.
So our agent or the woman that we have bought all three of our houses with,
we like working with her.
She's nice, mainly because she believed in us when no one else did back in the early days,
because no one would show us any houses
when we were just punk kids, and she's kind of like real redneck, and we kind of love her. But she came over, she showed it to us, we were like, great. We went home. It's within an hour we emailed her an offer we wanted to put in. Yeah. And then she told us that someone else was interested in it. And so I never know if
that's true or not.
Are being honest or not. But, it makes us be like, how much should we actually offer?
Right.
So we actually offered a little less than the asking price.
So they had put it up for $129,900, essentially $130,000.
Right.
I was thinking, let's put in a 120 offer and say as is.
Right. Well, at first we wanted to actually offer like 110.
Yeah, really low.
And less than that, but she said that someone else was also interested. And we know that that's true, is that there are investors around here that buy up rental cabins. And so it's not out of the ordinary for that to be true.
Right.
But because she said that, we put in a stronger offer. And like Ryan said, we did it in a way where, as you said, 120 without any its reservation.
Now, the reason we were confident in doing that, of saying it's not contingent on inspection, not contingent on termites, none of, whatever, we'll buy it as is. And the reason we're confident in doing that is, number one, we bought 2 houses before and totally got them, and we're confident that any repairs that need doing, we can get it done, and it's not a problem. And the other thing was, this was actually an active rental already. So people were renting it like the next day. So I'm thinking, the system's in place, the electricity, the septic, the water, those things are functioning now. This is not an abandoned house.
Right.
That's a very good sign.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we'll see.
Hopefully that's true.
We'll see in these next 6 months if our gamble paid off, as we kind of, we'll talk about it some, what we're going to do to it to get it up to shape that we like. But because it was an active rental already, we knew things must be
functioning.
Working. And we could walk around the house. You can see the foundation because it's up on blocks.
Yeah. The gutters were clean. The gutters were new.
Yeah. I mean, the septic's field doesn't smell.
Yeah.
So we took a chance because, in the past, these other two houses, we did all the inspections and we would hire an inspector to come out. And it's funny, I don't know, other people might have a different opinion, but we find like a lot of the inspectors we've worked with, they're nice guys. But
right.
I think that they've just like taken some online course to get some kind of certificate, I guess. And then they're just kind of guys that probably know contracting, and they just walk around and they see anything that we see.
Right. I mean,
a roof, I need some work there.
Yeah, and we're, I think after completely gutting two houses already, I'm like, okay, I see everything that we need to get done. Like, I don't need to pay someone to tell me that anymore. On a property that's active that people are living in. Maybe not so much on like some other houses, but then if you're willing to do the work and get it up, it doesn't really matter. Like, we had an inspector inspect our house. Our house is a foreclosure, the first house we bought. And there were so many things he didn't see, like an entire like lake of water underneath the house. Like,
no,
oh really?
I mean, he saw. I mean, he was like, "There's something going on
underneath
under there,"
yeah,
but
it's true.
He didn't see anything we didn't see.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is that we tried to put in an offer that was strong.
Yeah.
But under what they were asking, with the addendum that we would not put them through a lot of hoops.
Right.
And they immediately accepted it. Like,
yeah.
It's within an hour, they accepted the offer.
Yeah, it was actually amazing. I was sitting in my office just doing work, and the phone rang, and it was our agent. And she said it in such a way that I didn't understand that it was good. She's like, well, they accepted your offer. And I was like, wait, what did you say? Because she said it so like normally.
Right. Good.
I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is exciting. You know?
Yeah, and then and we would have closed. I mean, we told them we could close in a week.
Yeah.
If they wanted it to be fast, but they wanted a longer closing period because they wanted to actually, either them or some friends wanted to come down and stay for
Thanksgiving.
Holidays.
Yeah.
So it gave us an extra month to kind of take care of details.
Yeah, and that was fine.
And then we signed on Monday, and it's...
Yeah, we signed on the 30th, so it took like about a month. And then we got handed the keys.
Yep, and so we've already been down there. It came as is.
Furnished.
But it came with everything in it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's the other thing. We can't believe that they actually rented this place.
Well...
Because it's... I mean, it looks like it went into a rental in, like, the late 90s.
Yeah.
It's been almost 20 years in. It looks like it's got everything that it started with.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, and it was already kind of cheap stuff to begin with, and it's just all degraded,
I mean, I'll show you guys pictures on the post of, like, some details, but, I mean, there are things like the bathroom cabinets are completely faded and have drips all over them. The shower door doesn't open and close properly. Like, just stuff like that where you're like, this is just a very different way of doing things.
And the furniture was, the couches and chairs were already kind of cheap. And so over time, there's just stains and it's just kind of dirty. And
basically sofas I would not even want to sit in. So,
yeah.
I mean, we were over there yesterday. I was actually taking pictures of some stuff I'm going to sell on eBay. And, I was like ranting afterwards. Jay was like, okay, calm down. But I just can't believe they would rent it in that state.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word would be tired. It's just really tired,
worn out. Yep.
And that's just not something we're interested in. So anyway, our idea is, so it's December now.
Yeah.
That we want to have it rented by June.
Yeah.
So we have about 5 to 6 months.
Yeah.
To get it going. And so during a winter time when it's cold here, over the next 3 months, we can do inside work.
Right.
And then as soon as the springtime comes, we can do outside work. And we just want to kind of bring it up to snuff.
I want it to be contemporary.
Yeah.
Because right now, what it is it was built in 1973. It's like a gambrel roof A-frame. Like typical 70s, like mid-century, like cabin type deal. But to me, it's got a cool, like, mid-century feel.
It could be. If we do the details right.
Yeah.
Huge, big windows where you see the
mountains.
And, big open spaces and, but also it's not huge. So it'd be good for, two people, some kids, or four people who are like really good friends.
Yeah.
It's with each other.
Yeah. So that's different than the farmhouse because the farmhouse has 3 bedrooms, so it can sleep 6 people. So it is smaller, which is nice because honestly, one person could clean that house if needed. So,
but we know that it's something that people want because they come and they stay at their beautiful views. A block away, they could walk or drive to hop in and get tubing or
canoes, kayaks. Yeah. So it's and the other thing is like literally the house next door is a rental. And then I think the house beside it is also a rental. So the whole area is known for, having rentals. So that's normal for the area.
But, that being said, we aren't going to gut the place, but we want to get it up to the point where we don't have to do any major renovations or fixes for like the next 20 years.
Yeah, like
we want to do it right one time. So that means like we're going to put on a new roof.
Yeah, the roof needs doing.
We're going to put a metal.
Yeah, I really want a metal roof.
We're going to get the gutters good. There's just some like touch-ups on the outside that need to, some wood that needs to get fixed. Paint everything. Clean the floors. Yeah, inside the tile all needs to get clean. It needs a whole new bathroom, just like
a whole new kitchen too.
New kitchen, new lighting, new windows.
Now, what's hilarious is most normal people will be like, "That sounds like a gut,"
right.
But it's not. I mean, it's more like a refresh.
When we say gut, it's like you're redoing all the walls and you're like putting new insulation in.
A gut is like down to the studs, like you take the floor
putting
up
in brand new electric and,
like taking walls down, like that's not what we're doing. Right. So
but it's going to be extensive and it's not going to be cheap and we're going to pay for it out of pocket and and that's why maybe some people who are hearing this know we also sell on eBay. That's like our other business. So the way we've done is so far is we use our eBay business income and invest it in our rental income. Yeah. And then, so those things kind of go hand in hand. So because it's a wintertime too, our other vacation, a rental is not really going to make much
money at all
for us.
Yeah.
So really this renovation is really going to depend on us selling stuff on eBay.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, we're optimistic on the timeline because we always are, because you have to be, because if you're not, you'll go crazy. But there are some things I really want to do that are expensive, like a metal roof, but it would make that house look beautiful.
But the good thing is, this being our third home that we bought and we're going to redo, we now actually have like a team of people that we've worked with who know us, who we know, who I've already put out the calls to everyone to say, work's going to start. You know? I'm getting on everyone's schedule.
Yep.
I'm trying to get them all to come out, each of them to come out so we can show them, and also to get their opinions.
Right.
I mean, we know what we want to do, but these are the questions of like, what should we do first?
Yeah.
What do we not have to do?
Right.
And when we get opinions from
right.
people.
And I mean, we've worked with these guys so much that like you can say what makes sense here. Like what do we redo this or do we just clean it up? Like I mean, they know that we have like creative visions of things, but they can help us like ground that in reality a lot of times.
And then the other thing is, I love to make a list. So I have a list that I've started of things we need to buy or get, and that's a great thing too. So we save a lot of money by making a list of what we need and then starting to check Craigslist.
I am trolling Craigslist like a mad woman.
We go to the salvage yards and the restores.
Like you already started buying wood. This is even before we put an offer on the house. You had started buying wood. We had already bought a really fancy oven.
And real quick, when Ryan says wood, I mean I bought a truckload of antique beams.
Yeah, heartwood
like
pine beams.
That would be great for making shelves or mantles,
Yeah.
We went to that salvage place the other day and bought a door, like a nice front door.
Yes, we went to, it's called Community Forklift, and it's outside of Washington, D.C. We bought this gorgeous mid-century door, and it was $9.
Yep. solid door.
And the price tag was $15. I'm like, that's a great price. And she's like, oh, it's 40% off, $9. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, I love doing stuff like that.
I mean, after we record this podcast, Ryan already found...
I found a dishwasher. Okay. Normally, I would not have a dishwasher because I'm like, just wash the dishes by hand. But when we were in Amsterdam, both of the apartments we had apartment-sized dishwashers. It was really nice. It was like... it felt luxurious and like fancy. So I found it's 18 inches wide. Normally a dishwasher is 24 inches. And I found it and I talked them down from $150 to $100.
And those things, go between $400 and $500.
Yeah, they can they're more expensive than normal dishwashers. Right. So after we're done podcasting, we're going to go pick that up. So for us, that's the key. Instead of buying stuff new, you have the time to scavenge. That's why we call ourselves scavengers. Right. For furniture, appliances.
I mean, we've already, when we knew about 6 months ago that we were going to get another one, we started to keep an eye out. We already have a nice huge rug.
Couple rugs, yeah.
We have 2 really nice chairs, these nice cushioned swivel chairs that I got for $75
They're
for
vintage.
Both of them.
They're beautiful.
We got that oven.
We have this gorgeous Gen Air oven that someone was replacing with a gas oven. It's electric, and they sold it to us for $200. I mean, a Gen Air can cost like $2,000 for those ovens. Yeah.
So and then too, we start to gather artwork and we'll
just
start
anything
to keep out for lighting and you know, and so that's the other thing too is that. The way we do these things is instead of like trying to get it all done in a weekend by going to a Lowe's and slapping down its credit card and getting everything new and kind of cheap, we take our time a little more and can scavenge and get like really good quality items.
Yeah.
For not a lot of money.
Right. If you go out and like we went to an auction last week and we bought a big rug and we were just like we bought more beams and like mantle pieces. You just start to see like it's so much cheaper if you have more time. So
and plus, it's the kind of fun of it's a treasure hunt and you're like finding stuff and you're like, I wouldn't have thought to buy that.
Right.
But maybe I could put that in there and it does something to the place that we didn't think would be possible,
Last night we were looking through our inventory on eBay and we realized that we had a couple sinks. We had bought a bunch of sinks to sell on eBay and there's this gorgeous sink, this Kohler like cast iron. It's a bathroom sink. And we were like, we have to take that off eBay because we should put it in the new house instead of like trolling to find one. Like we already have one in storage. So, it is definitely fun sometimes. Sometimes it's painful to redo a house, but we obviously enjoy it since this is like the third one we're going into.
Yeah, and it definitely is a long play. It's like you're fixing it up, you're investing all this money in it. We do have a mortgage on it, but we know based on our other rental that the money we'll make from it, unless the economy just totally crashes, which could happen. But we're being optimistic about the future. I mean, basically, when you do stuff like this, you're betting on your country almost.
Right.
Like,
I mean, the
economy.
Have faith
that just America's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I honestly did not think our first rental business would be as successful as it was. I mean, I just had no idea that it would happen so quickly, and so it was exciting. I remember the first month. I remember saying we have to get another rental because we did it right. We did it using our own instincts, and it paid off. So let's do it again.
So, and then I guess the last question or the last thing we wanted to talk about is, and we aren't really sure the answer.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about it. Kind of, we'll think out loud. So. We run these things ourselves.
Yeah.
So we clean everything. We check people in.
Right.
So we're doing it all ourselves. And, the question is, how do we run two rentals at one time?
Right. Well, the first thing I thought of was we have to hire someone. But then the second thing was if you can juggle it so that you block off days on one of them, maybe the cheaper one that's not as big, so that you have a day to go clean it before someone comes, you can juggle it, and there's two of us. So if I have to go meet someone and we go clean and then I come back and meet them, like you can coordinate between two people. Because, I mean, for us, it's all about keeping the profit. Instead of hiring people,
right.
Like, okay, you go run that house and we'll just pay you.
Although, but then it's like if you block a day off or a night off, that could be
money.
$150 to $200.
Right.
Why not just hire someone even for $75 or $100?
Right.
And have them clean it? I mean, it's an interesting question, but then I guess for us, we're just so nervous about getting other people involved because it means like then you depend on them.
Right.
What happens when they don't show up?
Or they can't show up that time?
Will they do the kind of job that we would do?
Right.
Maybe we are, we like to have our hands on everything.
Yeah, we do.
So, I don't know.
But then again, like, it might just come to a point, next summer where we're like, we have to hire someone. Like, this is not sustainable. And I think that just happens naturally. Like, this is a small example, but when we started doing laundry for the farmhouse rental, we did not own a dryer. And the first week that I had to do the laundry, I was like, we have to buy a dryer right now because there is no way that we can sustain this level of laundry.
Because we hang up.
Yeah, we hang everything up.
Well, we have been hanging our clothes up because it's easy to do.
And our sheets, I mean, I would hang them on our back porch and stuff, but the amount of sheets you have to hang outside is like just unbelievable.
So we went on Craigslist and bought a dryer.
$200 dryer. Yeah. That is amazing. I love it. But so it's things like that where you just figure it out very quickly what you need to do.
And also, it is interesting. We don't really know these answers, but we're jumping in anyway. I mean, the other thing is we like to travel.
Yes.
And every year we normally take several long trips where we're gone for 3 to 4 weeks.
Yes.
So this year we're going to the Pacific, it's Northwest, it's New Orleans, and that will be 3 weeks.
Like 3 weeks, yeah.
And then
right in the springtime.
Then in the fall, we're going to go to Europe, and we're going to go to Ireland, and we could be there for a week, or if we want, we could extend it and stay and make it like a holiday.
Weeks, yeah.
So our question is, well, who's going to run our rental?
Who's going to run both the rentals? Yeah.
So we do have a friend who ran the one rental while we were gone, and he did a good job.
Yeah, he did an amazing job.
We were able to still make income and pay him.
Yeah.
And everything went okay. So can he do both of them? Do we need to find a second person?
Right. Yeah.
The good thing is that for us, these are luxury problems.
I mean, the fact that your business is doing so well that you have to hire someone when you're not around to run it, because number one, you don't want to shut it down when you're gone. And number two, it can sustain itself. I think that's a good sign. It's scary when we're away, but
and I think the real answer is just we need to be able to let go of some of the control.
Yeah.
And to find people we trust, and just people are smart, and just know that it's going to be okay.
Exactly. So that's it for this week. I mean, this is obviously very exciting for us, and I will put photos of the
and
the
it gives us something to talk about. So I guess that's one thing that we'll be talking about in these upcoming weeks is like
what's going on.
Yeah, it's like how do you redo a place
in cash
to rent it?
Yeah, get it ready. Okay, bye.